What's up everybody, this is Billy of Dunkademics. Today I've got a video of what might be the highest max touch of all time. So as you guys know, I've been very skeptical about vertical measurements in the past. I've always been especially skeptical of the 13-foot top of the backboard touches. I've been in many YouTube comment sections saying that I don't think that anybody has touched the top of the backboard before. And when I say that, I don't think that anybody has actually touched 13 feet. That is, until I saw this video. So today was supposed to be an upload of a dunk session, but instead I had to show you guys this video that came up on Instagram a few days ago. A basketball player from UT Arlington. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, I'm just going to show it on the screen right here. But I've been following him for a while. He's got crazy bounce and he's 6'9" and he has a 9'3" standing reach. So to put that in perspective, Wilt Chamberlain, one of the highest reaches ever, had a 9'6" standing reach. So this guy's only 3 inches shorter on his standing reach than Wilt Chamberlain was. So the crazy thing about this video, he claims that his coach measured the touch at 13 feet 3 inches. So in this video, I'm going to break down how high I think he touched. I'm going to break down his vertical, his reach, his height, everything like that. I'm going to break down the frames of his jump, even though some of you guys don't like that, I'm still going to do it. And basically we're just going to evaluate, is it cap or is it real? Can he really touch 13 feet or can he touch higher than 13 feet? And so that's what this video is about. So when people talk about who jumps the highest, I always have to ask them, like, are you talking about vertical, meaning how high they get off the ground? Or are you talking about how high they get their head over the rim and how high they can touch? So in this case, we're talking about a world record touch and how high this guy is getting above the rim. So I've got the video on my phone right here. I mean, this is a crazy jump, legit crazy. So the first time I saw this, I mean, I read the caption, he said 13 feet 3 inches. So naturally, if you're like me, you think, oh man, I wish he would have had the Vertec right alongside the top of the backboard, because then we could have a no question answer, did he actually touch higher than the top of the backboard? In this case, he had the Vertec just in front of the rim, so it's outside of the backboard, and it's in the middle of the court, so that helps a little bit. So when we're doing the comparison, we can at least have some sort of a reference. So for those of you who don't know, a standard Vertec goes up to 12 feet, and so he can obviously max that out pretty easily. So he's got a block that's supporting the Vertec up, and that's the questionable thing here in this video, is that we don't know how tall the block is that the Vertec is standing on. So when I was trying to guess how high the blocks were, I was kind of looking at the weights that are holding it in place, and it's hard to tell what kind of weights those are, but you can kind of tell that the blocks are taller. If you would have flipped the weights vertically, the box looks like it would be taller than the weights, so it's a significant sized box. So we just don't know exactly how high the box is. And the second thing that I looked at is, I mean, his head is definitely above the rim. This guy is 6'9". He doesn't need to have an insane vertical to get his head at the rim, but in this video his head is clearly above the rim. So then what I did, I took a screenshot of him at his peak in this particular jump, and I tried to draw horizontal lines, one comparing his arm to the rim, and then the second one comparing the top of his touch to the top of the backboard. And this is where it gets tough to measure it completely, because you don't know exactly where to match up the line alongside the backboard. So since the Vertec is in the middle of the court, I tried to draw the line directly to the middle of the backboard, where I thought the middle of the backboard was, and it seems to line up pretty good. And so this is where I've always been really skeptical about, you know, max touches that are said to be at the top of the backboard. And I'm skeptical about this one being 13 feet 3 inches. That's where I'm questioning this video the most, is the 3 inches. So instead we're gonna just try to see if it's 13 feet. So at the peak of his jump, I mean, it lines up pretty good with the top of the backboard. There is a chance that it's higher. I'm not so sure about it. I will not say that it is higher than the top of the backboard. I mean, the other thing that comes into question, I mean, obviously this is at a college gym. You would assume that the rim and the backboard is standard 10 feet and 13 feet. We don't know that 100%, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to assume it is, just because it seems to be on a standard goal and it seems to be raised to the top. Also, just comparing this to his other videos, you know, playing in games and things like that. So I'm going to assume this is a 10-foot rim with a 13-foot standard backboard. The next thing that we're going to talk about is his vertical. When you think about some of the highest verticals that you've seen in the NBA, you think of guys like Gerald Green, James White, DJ Steffens, guys like that. And so the one shortfall that they've all had is their standing reach. So guys like James White, Gerald Green, I don't have an exact standing reach for James White, but I do for Gerald Green. So Gerald Green is about 6'7" or 6'8", but his standing reach is only 8 feet 8 inches. So that would mean Gerald Green would need over a 50-inch vertical to touch the top of the backboard, and he just didn't have that, and I don't think anybody has that. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I've thought that it was nearly impossible for somebody to touch the top of the backboard, just because the height and vertical combination that you would need to touch the top of the backboard is just crazy. Because you see the guys who are taller, you know, the guys like Wilt Chamberlain, Shaq, Dwight Howard, they have the reach necessary, but they don't have the vertical because they're so big and tall. And so I catch a lot of heat on social media for this, but Wilt Chamberlain, I do not believe ever touched the top of the backboard. I believe that his vertical is comparable to Shaq and Dwight Howard's, somewhere in the 35 to 36 range at their max jumps. And so Wilt Chamberlain with a 9'6" reach, which is incredible, he would need a 42-inch vertical to touch the top of the backboard, and I just don't think that he had that. I don't think that there's any video evidence that suggests that Wilt had a 42-inch vertical. I've never seen any video on YouTube or anywhere else, and believe me, I've seen everything that everybody has sent me. I've seen it all. And I don't think I've ever seen Wilt Chamberlain jump and get his head to the rim, like the top of his head to the rim, which would be about 35, 36 inches for him to need to touch that. So I don't think that Wilt has ever touched the top of the backboard, because I think that he's just like Shaq and Dwight Howard, around a 35, 36 inch max vertical, which would make him fall short of touching the top of the backboard. And then you have the shorter guys, you know, the Daniel Cabellas, the Guy Olivers, the Riley Smith, the John Jordans, who have, you know, the about 50-inch vertical, but they have nowhere near high of a reach to be able to touch 13 feet. You know, they're somewhere in the sevens, the 7 foot, you know, 8 range for their reach. So I've always wanted to know, will there ever be somebody in that, you know, 6'8", 6'9" range with a reach high enough to be able to touch the top of the backboard? And so that's what intrigues me the most about this jump. I've always been skeptical about other comparisons, because you've got, you know, a 6'8" Doug Thomas who touched the top of the backboard, and I still question that, just because those guys, the to the top people, they've always been very sketchy with their measurements. So I don't think that he actually touched the top of the backboard 13 feet. I think he was more in the 12'9" range. But this guy from UT Arlington, it's crazy because, you know, he did the force plate vertical, which is hard to cheat, and usually you register a lower vertical on this, and he got a 40-inch standing vertical on the mat. So that, combined with the fact that he has a 9'3" standing reach, and then obviously your running vertical is going to be significantly higher in most cases than your standing vertical. So seeing him on the vert mat go to 40 inches with his standing reach made this super intriguing for me, and makes me actually believe that he could have touched 13 feet on this jump. So, I mean, as I've said before, I mean, I'm super skeptical about any sort of measurement if I'm not, you know, in person, or if, you know, Guinness Book of World Records isn't there or something like that. Just because, you know, people make mistakes, people overinflate, you know, how high something is, how tall something is. Sometimes people think that they're measuring correctly, but they're not. I'm still super skeptical about the 13'3", the 3 inches. I'm not sure that he got 3 inches over the backboard. I will say, I think it is very possible that he got 13 feet on this jump. I mean, just looking at where he touched and trying, again, I'm doing my best job to try to draw a horizontal line to the top of the backboard, and it is dangerously close. And he said that he registered a 47.5-inch vertical. So for reference, with a 9'3" reach, he would only need a 45-inch vertical, max vertical, to touch the top of the backboard. And he said that he had a 47.5-inch max vertical on this jump. So, man, I mean, if he had 47.5-inch jump on this one, then he's definitely over the top of the backboard. Oh, and so the last thing, the thing that a lot of you guys in the Dexton video didn't like, is I did count the frames of his jump. And it's a little bit harder in this video because this is a 30 frames per second video. But me just measuring his frames, he was in the air for 56 out of 60 frames. And just for a comparison, guys like Daniel Kabeya and Guy Oliver, they registered 58 frames on their jumps. So those are the highest jumpers that I've ever seen. And this guy is only 2 frames below them. And the 56 frames is comparable to guys like Tyler Curry, who don't jump quite as high as Daniel Kabeya and Guy Oliver, but he's still an elite 45, 46-inch jumper. So to see somebody who's 6'9" register a 56 frame jump is just ridiculous to me. Like, I didn't think that somebody that tall would be able to jump that high. And so that's why I'm super intrigued by this video. I really want to fly out to Texas tomorrow and just like have him repeat this test one more time with me there, get a legit camera angle, legit measurement, measure how tall the box is, measure the top of the backboard, everything like that. Another frame of reference that we have is this video that he sent me a couple months ago, and this is him actually trying to touch the top of the backboard. And in this video you can see he doesn't come quite to the top of the backboard, but back then, before his newest video, I had said that he's jumping at the backboard, which is extremely difficult because you're basically running into something instead of jumping alongside something. So jumping into the backboard is kind of like a momentum stopper, and you're not going to try to jump your highest if you're going to run into the backboard, obviously. So I always wanted him to try the Vertec, but off to the side of the backboard. So I got half of my wish. He tried it on the Vertec, but instead he did it in the front of the rim instead of on the side of the backboard. So it's hard to tell exactly how high he jumped on this, but I am a believer that he is dangerously close to 13 feet, and I will say that I think it is 13 feet. Personally, I believe that he got 13 feet on this jump. I would not bet any crazy amount of money on it. There's a chance that he was slightly below. There's a chance that he was slightly above. So, I mean, that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Like, tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think that he touched 13 feet? Do you think that he touched 13.3? Or do you think that he was slightly below the top of the backboard? Maybe, 12.9, 12.10, something like we've seen other guys do. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. This is one of the freakiest jumps that I've ever seen in my life. Just based on the fact that he's so tall, to have that high of a vertical is really crazy. And then the 9'3" standing reach is just super rare. So he really has the trifecta. He has the height, he has the reach, and he has the vertical. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. I've got a couple dunk sessions saved that I'll be posting in the coming weeks. And hopefully I'll have a lot more content for you guys coming soon.